Hello everybody, Tyria here, and welcome to another random-ass episode of Hey, let's talk about Guild Wars. So the thing is, I will be moving all the videos of Guild Wars that do not have to do with the main series to a Guild Wars bonus playlist where I do random things. So usually, like, if I'm recording a session where I'm going around hanging out with my BFF, and we're running around causing shenanigans and just questing and just doing something stupid. Obviously, the run in Dragon's Gullet, the run through the catacombs, and the different Halloween events, all of those are going to be placed in the bonus playlist. So if you are looking for them, or if there's something that you want to watch and you no longer see them on the main Guild Wars list, that's because I want to keep things a little bit more organized, and this video will be there as well. This way I can talk about just, I guess, things I just want to talk about within the Guild Wars universe without interrupting the main series and also without spoiling anything, because that's something that I'm always worried about. So, anyways, I think I didn't mention it in the last episode, which will be Guild Wars 25, part 25, which is our last episode in Ascalon. I didn't mention it in the newer recording. I had to record over the video because the first recording I had, I was really tired, I was exhausted, physically, mentally, emotionally. I was just, so the whole time I'm playing, I'm like, and like the commentary was just droll and awful, and I just couldn't have that, so I had to re-record it, and plus it was really laggy, so I recorded a new mission and just added in some stuff and some tidbits and kind of just talked over it. But anyways, so I didn't mention it in that one, but the Wayfarer's Reverie is happening right now as I'm recording this, so August 26th. You'll probably see this video on the 27th. Now, the event itself started on August 25th, and it'll run until September 1st. And what the Wayfarer's Reverie is, it's basically a world tour of Guild Wars, and I'm not even kidding. So basically what this is there are 4 different tours that you can go on, and they're known as proofs. And so you have Proof of Fire, Proof of Waves, Proof of Wind, and Proof of Ice. Now, and this covers all the campaigns plus the expansion. So Proof of Fire takes you through all the things in Guild Wars Prophecies, some spots that you probably didn't know existed, and spots that you've probably visited but you didn't really think anything of them. And so basically I can name some spots. Let's see, you go to the falls in Maguma Jungle, like the giant waterfalls in Maguma Jungle. You end up going to the standalone statues in the Crystal Desert. What other places do you go to? Like, there's a lot of them, and that's the thing. There's just so many. You end up going to the Flame Temple Corridor, which is a common place. You ended up going to Potmark Flats for something, and I forget what. But basically what you're given is you're given, like, I think it's like 10 different places, and it tells you to go to a specific place in this specific area, and you literally have to go there, and just upon seeing that place, you basically have beaten, I guess, that objective. You've cleared that objective, and you can move on to the next place. Now, after completing all 10 places, you go to the guy, you get your reward, which is like 2,050 experience, 2k in gold, and you get a proof from whatever tour that you took. Now, the only one I've gotten so far is I've gotten Proof of Fire, and I'm really close to getting Proof of Wind, but I'm obviously stuck, because here's the thing. If you have not beaten a Guild Wars campaign, or if you're nowhere near beating a Guild Wars campaign, whether it be Factions, Nightfall, or Prophecies, and if you have not even started the expansion, you will not be able to do Wayfarer's Reverie. And I guess this is what I hate. Most Guild Wars events are open to everyone. They're really great, they're really wonderful, and they're for all different skill sets. And usually, even if you're a lower level, you can generally do some of them, and you can do enough to get prizes. And it's really fun. Now, the thing about Wayfarer's Reverie is if you get all 4 proofs and you turn them in before the date is done, before September 1st, you get a tormented weapon, which is an ultimate weapon which can be dedicated in the Hall of Monuments. Now, the tormented weapons, you usually only get them by beating the Nightfall campaign, going into this certain section where you have to collect 40 ectoplasm to get an arm brace, and then after you get the arm brace, you have to turn it into someone else, which will forge a weapon for you, a tormented weapon for you, and then you can dedicate it. So doing the tour is actually a lot easier and a lot quicker of a way to get this weapon than going into the area where you have to collect the ectoplasm collecting that to get the arm brace to then get the weapon. So, and plus, if you try and buy ectoplasm, which is another option or route that you can go, let's see, one ectoplasm is anywhere between fucking 8 to 10 platinum, so 8,000 to 10,000 gold, and if you need 40 of them, you're looking at a hefty price and a lot of selling of items. So anyways, it's a great opportunity to get a tormented weapon, but only if you have completed the game. And if you've already completed the game, you probably already have a tormented weapon to begin with. So I feel like, whereas other quests, or other events like Christmas and Halloween, where any skill level can get pumpkin cookies and stuff to trade in for masks and different pieces of a costume, I feel like this quest doesn't really give you that. So anyways, like I said, I was able to complete Proof of Fire because I had completed the Prophecies campaign all the way through. And there were still some places that I had really never visited before because it really wasn't necessary. Oh yeah, Anvil Rock in the Shiver Peaks and the abandoned Temple of Lissa in Mineral Springs. These were some of the places that I had to visit. These were some of the places that I had to visit during the Proof of Fire, and these were places I had never been to. Why? Because they're not really necessary. These places had no quests for me. I found some outposts that I didn't even know existed, and again, they had no quests, they had merchants, but why were those places even there? I don't even understand what their function is. Maybe they hold some importance, for something else that I missed, but honestly, I could not figure out for the life of me what these things were for. So basically, that's the really cool thing about the tour, other than the downside that it is pretty discriminatory because there are a lot of people that still have not beaten the game because the game itself is really hard. One great thing about it is that it does give you the opportunity to just really see things that you never would have checked out otherwise. The Mineral Springs was really cool, like the abandoned Temple of Lissa. Lissa is the goddess of illusion, and usually she's a twin, really. There's two of her. There's Liss and Alyssa, and they make up Lissa Lissa the goddess, which has a festival in Elona, because she's the lady, she supposedly carved out Elona. I don't know, the lore is really deep there, but basically Lissa is usually attuned to mesmers, so as a mesmer, or playing as a mesmer, I was really super excited to go through this and really run through that temple. Now granted, the temple isn't really anything itself, it's an ice cave with a statue of Lissa inside it, and it was a pain in the ass to get to, but at the same time, I didn't even know that was there. I mean, this is dwarven territory, so it's really odd to find something like this. So anyways, other than that, I ended up getting Proof of Fire, which was really beautiful. I took some screenshots of the places so that you can see them here. I was gonna record it, but honestly, the whole time I was playing, I wouldn't have had any good reactions at all. I would have just been talking about what I know of the places, but really, while they listed the places they wanted you to see, they didn't list why they wanted you to see them. Now granted, these places have proper names, and some of them you can look at and be like, oh, that's why they wanted us to see them. Like the abandoned Temple of Lissa, like you would never know it was there, so it's one of those secret areas, and you're like, awesome! And it's way back in the Shiver Peaks where no one wants to travel because no one likes the Shiver Peaks. I don't like the Shiver Peaks, so it's like when I knew I had to go there, I'm like, shit, because one of the places is in the first area of Shiver Peaks, which is really easy to traverse, and you're like, oh, everything's level 10. The Mineral Springs, everything's level 20 plus, and you have those aura shadows and everything else, and they can fuck off. And I hated it. It was awful. It was terrible getting there, and yeah, I ended up having to do the whole thing by myself because I didn't have anybody to travel with. So anyways, so that was Proof of Fire. It had a really, really awesome span of things. You only had one thing in the Crystal Desert. You didn't have to go to the Fire Ring Island, so really you only have to be about 90% of the way through the game in order to get to these places. You don't have to have the full 100% because you don't need anything in the Fire Ring Islands, which is always a plus. But they had a couple places in the Muguma Jungle, one place in the Crystal Desert, 2 places in the Shiver Peaks, 2 places in Ascalon, just 1 or 2 places in Kryta, I think. I don't really remember. So it wasn't really that hard. It probably took me about an hour, 2 hours to get everything done, but that's because I ran into some hordes and I died. Now, Proof of Waves, which takes place in factions, I was really pissed off about this. So when you enter Lion's Arch with a character in Prophecies, if you have the other 2 games, you have the option of playing the storyline from Factions or Nightfall with the character that just entered Lion's Arch, because you have the other game. So it's like taking your one character for one place, picking it up and putting it in a completely different game. I like that feature. I like that feature a lot. But at the same time, there are some downsides. Now, in the Cantha, in Nightfall, if you take your character from Prophecies, you put them in Nightfall, you can actually put them in the beginning areas, which is a small town. So you can kind of backtrack to a certain point, and you can get them mostly to the beginning to where your tutorial would start in a normal Nightfall character. Because when you start a Nightfall character, you have to go through this tutorial, make it to the first town, blah. Well, your Prophecy character can pretty much backtrack to that point, which is really good because it means you're not missing very much. However, if you start a Prophecies character, make it to Lion Arch, and then put them into Factions, that's something completely different. Factions starts on an island called Xingzhe Monastery, and the monastery is, like I said, on this separate island, and you really can't get there. There's no boat that takes you there or anything. So in order to start the tour for Proof of Waves, it starts in an area where Xingzhe Monastery is, which means I can't do Proof of Waves on the only character that stands a chance to do the mission for Proof of Waves. It's really, really stupid. And I was so angry because, and I was asking some people in Kaineng City, which is the main city, I was like, hey, can someone help me run for Proof of Waves? And literally this guy said, hey lady, this isn't Prophecies. You can't just run through this. You have to have the whole map unlocked for the tour. And I was like, are you serious? I have to have the whole map unlocked? And he's like, yeah, where are you right now? And I was like, oh, I'm currently, working to help the factions so that we can stop the ghost. And he kind of like laughed and he was like, you are nowhere close to being able to finish this thing that you're wanting to do. And so it was really, really depressing because it means I can't get Proof of Waves. And if I can't get Proof of Waves, well then I am already fucked for this mission. Which really bothered me because I really wanted that tormented weapon. But there's always next year, I suppose. Now, granted, like I said, I can't even get to Xingzhe Monastery, which means I would have to run the map on my assassin, which is actually a factions character. The problem with my assassin is that she's not very strong, I don't really play an assassin, and I am always dying on this character even for the simplest of quests. Which means I either need to totally rebuild her character, or basically forget her character, and say screw it and do something else, which I will probably end up doing. Because, yeah, like, it's impossible. Anyways, moving on. So then Proof of Wind takes place in Nightfall, which is my second favorite campaign, honestly. Like, excluding the expansion, which I love the expansion, I like Prophecies, Nightfall, and Factions comes last just because it's way too complicated, and I hate the surrounding cities, like, I hate traveling through it. It's beautiful and it's interesting, but at the same time, it's just way too confusing and I feel claustrophobic the whole time I'm playing it. Plus, I feel like the classes, like the Ritualist was really cool, but Assassin was pretty much a letdown. So anyway, so the Nightfall tour, the Proof of Winds, I have been able to complete most of it. I am literally 3 places away from getting that Proof of Wind. The only problem is that I don't have the map unlocked again. You literally have to be like 90% of the way through the game again, and I am missing some places. So I decided to try and do some missions to try and get closer to the end, because I am really close to the end as is. But I ended up failing in the mission. I ended up dying, and therefore I ended up rage quitting, which is really bad. But the thing that I wanted to tell you about most is the hidden city of Adashim. I think you pronounce it that way, Adashim, but I'm not really sure. So anyways, the abandoned city of Adashim. I literally looked on my map and I saw this big area of map that was blurred over, which means it was not explored. The thing is this blurred area was actually right in the middle of areas that I had already explored, which means I literally explored in a circle around this area, but I had never been in this area that it needed me to be in. And the thing is, I didn't know how to get in there. I was circling a mountain forever, and I was like, why the hell can I not find this place? Why is my arrow pointing into the middle of a mountain? So as I'm walking around, trying to find this place, and my arrow is pointing me in the direction of this mountain, all of a sudden, I decided that my arrow was drunk, my quest arrow. And I was like, okay, my quest arrow is obviously very drunk, because it's telling me to walk into a mountain. Now, game logic of Guild Wars, you cannot walk into mountains, ever. Mountains never move. And so literally, as I was explaining this to my friend earlier, I literally was sitting there yelling at this arrow because I was just like, there's nothing there. So I'm thinking maybe I missed an instance, or maybe there's someone I have to talk to, or maybe I'm just crazy, I don't know. So finally I decide I'm going to humor this arrow, and I'm going to go inside this mountain. I'm just going to walk up to it, look at it, and be like, yep, you're still a fucking mountain, and then I'm going to walk away. So I move up to this mountain, and sure enough, the fucking thing opens. Like, these doors that were there, like, they weren't really doors, it was more like pillars, and I just thought they were part of the mountain because there were some buildings nearby that were built into the mountain. I guess I just didn't really think it was a place, I just thought it was decoration like everything else that I usually run into, because this place, you know, Nightfall is so ornate, like, I didn't think it was anything else. So I literally walk up to this mountain, and the doors open, revealing a portal to another city. And I'm thinking, awesome! I'm gonna be in the hidden city of Adashim! Going into this place proved that it was not the hidden city that I was looking for, but it did lead to the hidden city I was looking for. You have to go up and you have to talk to this spirit, promise it you're not going to loot anything, and then you enter this hidden city of Adashim. If you look up the hidden city of Adashim on the wiki, it describes the place as being a place of legend, a place of treasure, and it literally says that there's a section in there where the floors, where like the ground, is nothing but piles of gold and gems and treasures. The thing is Guild Wars, when it comes to their areas, they are very detailed, but they're not that detailed. So literally I thought it was just rumor. So it was cool enough that I was already in a hidden city that I didn't even know existed, thus the whole fact that it's a hidden city. It was already really cool that I was in a hidden city that I didn't know existed. Not only did I unlock an extra mission, which will help me get points, you know, Sunspear points and Lightbringer points, but on top of that, as I'm exploring this city, it's really freaking hard. I'm getting my ass kicked by the Roaring Ethers, the Djinn in there, like, everything's killing me. And I died so many times, but at the same time, reaching that inner sanctum has never been more satisfying, because once I got in there, the floors, there was a bridge crossing over it, and literally the floor underneath you is piles of shimmering gold, gems, and treasures. It is honestly one of the coolest things I have ever seen in Guild Wars. It's an awesome place that I had never even thought to be, you know, or go to, because I wouldn't have found it anyways, because it's hidden in a mountain, you know, but it's really cool. Like, this tour is something really amazing, because it shows you all these places that some of them you already know, and so not only does it take you down the path of nostalgia, where you're just like, oh, I remember this place, I remember this quest, I remember doing this, I remember I killed the worm here, blah blah blah. Not only does it do that, but sometimes you find places that you didn't even know existed, and you're sitting there thinking to yourself, oh my god, what else out there, you know, what else is there out there that I have missed, that I haven't found, blah 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 blah. There was even a secret Corsair dock that I didn't even know existed that was part of the tour, and I ended up going into the secret cave where there were merchants and everything else. It wasn't even an outpost, but like, they were there, you know, the merchants and whatnot, and there was just these ships that were hiding underneath this huge rock formation that I just passed by, didn't even give it a second glance. There was lots of enemies there that I got to beat and get lots of points for. Like, I don't know, like, the thing is that's why I hate that it's so discriminatory against people that have not beaten the campaign yet, because this tour, even though it's really hard, it's not only rewarding in the sense that you have something that you're working towards, which is the tormented weapon, but at the same time, you are just going on this tour and finding all these fascinating things that you didn't even know existed unless you've done the tour before. You know, which really means that, you know, like, there's always something new to discover about this game, which is why I love this game so much. Because there's just always something new, always something that you're just like, wow, I didn't know this was here. Awesome, you know, and even as such an old game, and even though most people have moved to Guild Wars 2, it's a really cool thing that all these events still go, all these people still get on for said events so that they can get the items, even if it's just to trade them, or even if it's just to have them, or whatever the reason is. I just love the fact that, you know, all these people pull together because this game is so good that it keeps bringing them back. So, yeah, it's just, I don't even know how to explain it to you. But yeah, like underground tombs, abandoned temples, just beautiful places like the falls, secret corsair docks, hidden cities, like statues that are lost in the desert that are crumbling from a civilization so long ago. Like, these places are amazing, they're beautiful, and this game continues to just put me in awe, like, just leave me with my mouth open, like, because of how gorgeous it is, especially for its time and everything. So, that's pretty much all I have to say about the Wayfarer's Reverie. If you do play Guild Wars, I would at least give it a little bit of a shot. If you completed the campaigns, definitely give it a shot. And even if you haven't, just try it. See if you can get somewhere new. See if you can find something that you've never found before. Challenge yourself. Maybe this will be the point where it drives you really to beat the game because you're wanting to find these places and get those proofs. I mean, just motivate yourself to do it. I swear that it is worth it, even if you don't get the prizes. Also, enemies are dropping Wayfarer's Mark right now, and the Wayfarer's Mark can be traded for Hunter's Ale, sugary drinks, bottle rockets, sparklers, and champagne poppers. Now, the only one that can be sold is the Hunter's Ale, I believe. I think it's worth 1 gold apiece. But the thing is you can use those to go towards Drunkard title track. I don't know if the sugary drink goes towards Party Animal or Sweet Tooth title track. But either way, you can use these items and work towards possibly those 3 titles, all the while working towards other titles as well, because the Proof of Winds will help you towards your Sunspear title if you get the things to get points. Proof of Ice, which I have not started yet, which I want to, which is the Norn one, which takes you farther into the expansion. I want to try it, even though I know it's going to be super hard. You'll most likely be working with your Norn title track there, so even if you don't do it for the prizes, do it for the fact that it'll motivate you to get points. There's so much you can gain from it, and just, like I said, you can always find something new in the game, and maybe it'll make you fall in love with the game all over again, you never know. So anyways, this has been Samutari talking about the Wayfarer's Reverie, you know, basically the Guild Wars World Tour thing. Like I said, it's really fun. Just give it a shot, even if you know you can't complete it. Like, just try it. It's a great way to earn gold too, and everything else. I'm probably going to use it to get another prestige armor, but yeah. So this is Samutari talking about the Wayfarer's Reverie, which ends September 1st, so make sure you do it while you can. You only got a few days left. Anyways, I am out for now. Thank you for tuning in for another episode. Enjoy my screenshots, and I will see you in the next one. So until then, ciao guys.